All right, Sam, the bike is done. I'll kind of go over each little part for you here. So on the wheels, the little power bank here tells you how much juice is in there. So right now it says 62% here. To turn them off, or we'll start with off first since they're on right now, but I'll double click it to turn it off. So 1, 2, it'll flicker. It's off. Press 1 for on. So 2 for off, 1 for on. All right, so that's the wheel lights there. For the whip light, it's got its own little power bank here. Here you just flip the switch, turns it off, flip the switch, turns it on. So, and this one you can, when you're done, turn it off, unplug it, and then you can charge it. Charge port is here, and inside of the basket I have this guy here, so you can pull this guy out. Inside of here, this is the charger here. Plug this in, and then the cord you'll plug in to here and charge it until all 4 lights will be on here. Or sorry, 5 lights on this one. So all 5 lights are on, and then that will give you the power for that. And plug that guy in for now. We'll turn it on. All right, for the frame lights are up here inside this power bank. See, it's at 77 right now. Whenever this one is ready to unplug it for the night, you just pull it out. Turns all the lights off. You plug it back in. All of the lights are on. Okay. Inside of here, I have a remote. I have a spare remote with a new battery in there. So that one you probably won't have to use that one for probably a good year or so. So this battery remote should last you for quite some time. Open that up. Pull this thing out. This is the charger for your bike. So for the e-bike itself, the charger's in here. I just have it sitting inside of the basket. I have some extra USB-C chargers that you can use for the wheel lights and for the power bank itself. You can see USB-C rechargeable. When you want to recharge it, you just pull this zip tie over to the side to get to that port. I leave this here so it kind of covers up the dust there. But when you want to charge it, you just pull it to the side, or you can pull this guy out, pull it to the side. Make sure that you'll see that little button here. So this is the power button right here. So 1, 2, turns it off, and press it again once, turns it on. So whenever you charge it, you just turn it off. You should get at least 6 hours charge out of these wheel lights, depending on what mode that you use. The blinking mode lasts longer than the solid mode there. All right. And then for the remote, you can see it all syncs together. So press red, green, blue, everything works synchronized here. I can hit the auto mode here, and that goes to the rainbow mode. And now this will cycle through all 358 different modes, one at a time. So if you just sit here, you see it'll start cycling through itself. So if you want to leave it on that mode, you just hit the demo. Of course, you have the brightness up, brightness down. You can speed it up, speed it down. You can manually go through each mode. So like, let's say I want to go back to the rainbow mode, right? Let's go back. I'll hit that, hit rainbow. And if you're sitting here, all right, and you wait for it to cycle once. If you see a mode that you like, you're like, ooh, I want to go back to that one. All right. You can manually go through it. Sometimes, if you want to now it's like right now I have it just stuck on the rainbow mode. But let's say I want each thing to be independent, right? Let's say I want my wheel lights to be, I want them pink. So right now that's pink, right? Now what I would recommend doing, I'm going to power this off. 1, 2. Gotta power this one off right here. 1, 2. All right, so now those wheels will be pink whenever I go back. And like I have it kind of on that Miami mode I just really like. And let's say I want the whip light to continue to stay in rainbow. I'm gonna power that off. So now I'm going to just flip that switch. All right, so now the only thing left plugged in right now is the frame lights, right? Still plugged in. Let's say I want that on that green mode. So I'm just gonna mode, and keep going until I find a mode that I like. You could be here all day doing that. Right now I'm just doing green for it's simple and it's bright and I like that color and it looks good with the pink, but you could push that 358 different times to kind of go through each mode if you wanted to. FYI, never use the power button on the remote. Only use the power button on each power bank. If you use the power button here, it's still drawing current from the power banks because you haven't turned them off. The lights are off, but it will still slowly vampire a battery. Just like anything, if you leave it plugged in, the battery plugged in, it will continue to vampire. So I never use the power button on here. Always use the power button on each power bank. So power bank 1, power bank 2, for the frame and for the whip light, okay? So now, all right, I have this one on green. When I turn these back on, these will be pink. So again, press once to turn on. Press once to turn on. And same thing with this one. If you want to charge it, you just move the zip tie over to the left or to the right. You can move that. You can move this USB here to give enough room for you to be able to charge it. And I definitely would recommend getting like a 6 foot, like the 6 foot USB-C cords. So your power bank has enough room your power source has enough room to reach the wheels wherever your camp is at. I provide you the ones that are they're like a foot long, but if you're at Burning Man camp, you probably want something a little bit longer than that for it. So now I turn this guy back on, and you see now everything is independently lit and is going to stay on that mode. Wheels are still pink, the bike is still green, whip light is still rainbow. But if I wanted to sync them all together, I could hit each one individually and can like sync them together, okay? If you want to lock your wheel lights or your frame light or the whip light to this remote, you can hold down this lock button right here for 3 seconds. The bike will blink. So I'll give you an example. Let me turn everything off real quick. So I'm going to turn the power bank off for the whip light. I'm going to turn off the front or the rear wheel. Let's unplug the frame. All right, so now the only light I have on is just the front wheel, okay? Let's say I want to lock this wheel light, and this goes for everything. I'm just showing you for just this one wheel. If I hold this down for 3 seconds, so 1, 2, 3. All right, so it blinked. Now, this wheel light, you can see I can still work it with this one remote here. And go back to pink. All right, now this remote is locked to that wheel. Nobody else's remotes can turn your lights off or change them. Out there on the playa, you might want to use this feature because if you have people with a bunch of these remotes that want to go around and change people's lights and turn them off and fuck with your lights, with that many, tens of thousands of people, there are going to be a ton of people out there with these remotes. So you could lock this remote to your bike so no one can change your lights. The caveat is if you lose this remote, you're screwed. So this remote only will work to your bike. I have a spare one in here that would not work once you lock it. So if you lock this, do not lose it. Like right now, I'm going to unlock it. So I'm going to hold it down for 3 seconds. All right, it just blinked again. So now it's unlocked. So now any remote can work to this. So it's nice to use. You just cannot lose this remote. You can't use any spare remotes. If you, let's say you locked it and you lost this remote, whatever mode that your lights were on before you locked it, they're going to be stuck on that mode. So it's not the end of the world. But let's say you get back from Burning Man and you're like, hey, I lost my remote. I locked it and then I lost this remote. Now I have to replace all of this wiring in here. So that will be difficult for you if you are in Miami and I am here. I could send you another one of these, so you just would let me know and I can ship another one to you. You'd have to install it yourself, so you'd have to unplug it from here and you'd have to rewire it yourself. So not the end of the world, but also you need to be a little bit savvy as far as what you're doing with this. Again, if you lock the remote to your lights. So if you don't lock it, you don't have to worry about it, but you do have to run the risk of somebody going up and turning your lights off or trying to steal your bike. And there are a lot of bike thieves out there on Burning Man, and they may want to shut your lights off to try to sneak away with your bike. So luckily with all the lights on there, you can keep an eye on it, but I definitely would not be letting your bike out of your sight because every year everyone complains about how many bikes were stolen there. So, and everyone's going to want a bike with the lights on it there. Anyways, that's kind of the gist of the bike as far as the lights go. I just have everything inside of here. I'll try to tape it down so that way it doesn't get lost in, while it's getting transported. But that's the bike in a gist there. To turn your bike on, since it was a brand new bike and you haven't used it yet, you hold this button down for 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3. The bike is now on. You push up for how fast that you want the bike in as far as the modes go. I find 3 works pretty good. I know there's speed limits out there, so you probably might want to be on 2 for the most part. And then you press it again. I think you hold the plus button down for a couple seconds and the headlight should come on. So let me see. 1, 2, 3. Yep, see the headlight came on. And then to turn it off, you hold the plus button down for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. All right, now the headlight is off. And then to turn the bike off, 1, 2, 3. Now the bike is off, okay? The keys are zip tied to the handlebars here. The key fits in here, and that lets you drop your battery. Again, I don't have anything to do with the bike. I'm just kind of giving you a heads up on what I know of working on e-bikes in general. This is kind of how that goes. I'm just doing the lights, of course, on it. To let you know, the whip light is removable. So you can take this guy here. You see this little collar? Unscrew it. And you can separate that. Okay? And now, on here, there's a little collar right here at the bottom. You just lift this up. Trying to get it at an angle where you can see. Let me hold it together here. It's hard to see, but you're going to lift this up. It comes off. So now you can transport the whip light however you need to, independently from the bike. The mount stays there. It's locked onto the bike. Okay? And then when you want to put it back on, put it down onto the mount, lift that little collar up, and it's hard to do this with one hand, and kind of twist it until it hits the notch that it wants to be on. It's difficult to do with one hand. There you go. You just kind of twist it till it clicks there. So you lift the collar up to get it on and get it off. Once it's on, now you can see it's locked on. It's not coming off there. Flag's off of it. You've got the mounts here. If you have a large flag that you want, you just unscrew this a little bit, loosen this up, and then you can bring it down, and you can put a large flag on here. I have a lot of clients that put one big giant large flag on there. So that's basically it. I have the wheel lights and the frame lights. Everything is unlocked. So right now you can use either of the remotes. Again, I put a spare one in here with a brand new battery in the package there for you that you can use. There's instructions in here on how to use the remote. So if you have any questions, you can take a picture of this, save it so you can go back to it. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. Power bank is in here. I'll have it inside of the box. Charger for the bike is in here. And then the power bank for the whip light will be in here. So everything is here. And I will give you a little heads up whenever I drop the bike off. I'm on my way to your friend Moar's here in a few minutes. All right, there you go, Sam.